Hey there. So I wanted to record a vlog on my journey with the 72-hour fast that I just completed. So I want to give a little bit of a background before I get into some of the things. This video is going to be completely based off of my experience. There's no like um, medical advice here. I'm not a medical professional, so don't take my advice here as that. If you are thinking of fasting but you have some sort of medical condition, definitely talk to your provider, talk to a medical professional before you start fasting. That's number one. Caveat number two is this is really going to focus on the spiritual side of the things that came up, not so much on the physical side of things. If you're interested in the physical side, you can put a comment to this video and I can create another video about that. And then the last caveat I'm going to give is that I was under the training of two individuals while I was fasting. So one, my trainer that I have been training with for about 2 years now. He is really, really, really an expert on fasting and pretty much everything with wellness. And so I'll tag him in this video. He was able to help me kind of navigate through this. And before I did this 72-hour fast, I have done 24-hour fasting and also 48-hour fasting. So that kind of ramped me up to do this 72-hour fast through his guidance. And then the next person is Jules Horn, who I'll tag him here too. You can follow him. He actually has a training course on fasting, which I took before I did the 72-hour fast. And there's a lot of things in his training course that is very specific for women, especially based off of our cycle, and when you should fast based off of your cycle and what you should be doing during that time frame. If you're fasting during a specific phase of your cycle, what are the foods that you should be including? What are the things that you should be including? What are the practices that you should and shouldn't be including? Okay, so I'll tag both of those individuals in this video, in the notes, and you can follow them if you have more questions. Like I said, I'm not going to get into like the physical part, but I really wanted to talk about the spiritual part. Okay, so a background to fasting and spirituality. So in ancient text, it is mentioned over and over and over again about how fasting really helps to accelerate a person to tapping into higher dimensions. Okay, and not only that, but it also helps to kind of put your body into the state where you are able to gain clarity and gain better wisdom through the practices that you do, whether that is pranayama, whether that is meditation, whether that is just kind of observing and journaling, whatever it may be, prayer, any of those things. And so through my own research, through many, many years of research, right, I've been always very fascinated with fasting. And as an Indian, a Hindu growing up, fasting was always part of my life, okay? My grandparents fasted, my parents fasted, more so my mom. And so I like watch them. But like fasting in Hinduism, especially in the modern world, is very different. It's not like a complete water fast. It's more so you're eating fruits or you're incorporating other foods that are okay to eat during fast. And so, it's not the same as like a complete water fast for, any length of time, okay? And so for me, my journey with the fascination of fasting started as I was a child. And ever since then, I've always been very curious. And so I've always fasted the way that it has been taught to me through my grandparents, through my parents. And that's always been like, eating fruits and then like having water and stuff like that. And I've done like, up to 5 days, up to 4 days of fasting, right? Up to, I've always fasted every Monday for Lord Shiva. And so this past year, I've been very curious about how is my body able to function when I actually do not eat at all, okay? Where I'm just having water and tea and just plain coffee, right? Like black coffee, okay? And so with this 72-hour fast, that was something that I was really curious about. So I've done 24-hour fasts where I'm just on water and electrolytes and maybe some herbal teas, right? And it's been fine. I've done 48, which has been okay. I've understood for myself at least the 36. I've understood at least for myself the 36-hour time frame is like what I need to break for me to actually then move forward and not have like those really really bad like hunger spells that come up. Okay, so that's for me. But all of this came through curiosity and observing my body and doing it regularly. So I've been doing 24-hour fasts every Monday for the past 6 months now, or I don't know, 5 months, something like that. I've been doing 48-hour fasts every other month or every month, a little bit like that. So let's just say 5 times this year. And this was my first 72-hour fast. Okay. So like I said, it came from a place of curiosity, and specifically for me, where I am in my spiritual journey is a place of learning detachment. So whether that be detaching from emotions, detaching from things that I've been used to, materialistic things, just learning detachment, just learning what detachment means. And this was a practice of pushing myself to learn the detachment of my body, pretty much, right? Understanding that my soul, my spirit, consciousness in itself is everything, and that is greater than my body and what my body is signaling to me. Okay, that doesn't mean that I ignored the things that are coming up for my body. It just means that I was creating space between the things with my body, like my thoughts, my emotions, and that dictating a story, a narration that I was being consumed by, to kind of create space to kind of see what consciousness was kind of explaining to me. And so those 72 hours was really based off that. So the discipline that I had was to meditate, was to put myself into the present moment. So I was kind of very careful about like not being on social media, not being on anything that kind of put me into a state of fear. And so really I kind of created a cocoon for those 72 hours. I was just home. I did have my son with me. I actually was alone because my husband was traveling during those 72 hours. So it was just me, and I was able to really control my environment to create this kind of this like spiritual retreat for myself, that I could do the things I wanted to. So the discipline I had was meditation, breath work, and specifically breathing when I would have those hunger spells, which is something that came through the training that I took from Jules' class. So I actually took notes that I want to read to you, and these are kind of the downloads that came through from the meditations that I had during that time. So here is some of the stuff that came up. The very first one, and this was like the most important one, I want to say, space. Space between, so creating space. It teaches us the importance to create space in our lives. We are often just moving from one thing to another in, whether that be in thought, in emotion, and we're doing more. That kind of maybe for us, doing more equates to success or better outcomes, but it really doesn't. Okay, so instead of pausing and being in stillness, because we're too afraid to stop, we just continue to go, 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 go. And this practice that I had for 72 hours really taught me about creating space and what space means. Like, really, what does it mean to be in stillness, and what does it mean to create space, and what does that space actually do? And for me, that space was a place where I was able to tap into the frequency of God, spirit, whatever you call that higher power. For me, it's pure consciousness, okay? So in the ebb and flow, I had the realization that I am consciousness. I am pure consciousness, just kind of going through this human experience. Okay. And more so, I am it all, feeling in consciousness. So, meaning that even when I'm going through the feelings of it, even when I was going through the feeling of being hungry, of being like, feeling like a little tired because I felt like I might need a little bit of food because that's what my mind was trying to create, the story that it was trying to create, I was still consciousness, okay? I am never not consciousness. And I used two negatives, so I didn't mean to do that. I am not consciousness at any time, right? If I cease to be consciousness, then I cease to exist. My existence comes from the fact that I am consciousness and that I am a spirit and that I am a soul. I can cease to be part of this body. Like this body could die, but that doesn't mean that I don't exist because consciousness is still there. Okay. It's a very important point that I learned. Not that I didn't know it, but it's like I really experienced it and embodied that in the 72 hours. The next point I have is calmness and stillness are an internal state. When we create space, we will find it. So by creating the space that I did during that time, I was able to find the stillness. I was able to find the calmness. The calmness is like all of that stuff is internal. It doesn't come from external things. Like we can't seek it in external things, right? Like we can't seek calmness or stillness in like a class or a thing. Those classes can teach us how to get there by practicing those things, by having a kriya, right? But the kriya is not creating the calmness or stillness, right? The class, the practice is not creating it. What's actually creating it is your awareness that you are consciousness and you're always at that state of calmness and stillness. The next point, which is kind of more related to Western religions, whether it be Christianity or Judaism or whatever, the devil or the negative side, negativity, is always lurking around. So this is something that I really, really felt. So even though I was fasting, my son wasn't fasting. I was creating meals for him. I was feeding him even. I was like always there. And so the thought of like, just eat something, like just break this fast, you don't need to be doing this, kept coming up over and over again in so many different ways. And not only that, but like there were so many other thoughts that were coming up for me, points of negativity that would like force me to like give up on doing this fast. Okay. And what I learned from that is that that negative side, whatever you want to call it, is always lurking around. It wants us to be in fear and negativity. And the other part of that is like, it's part of us. Okay. It's not like some like other like form or energy that you could like push away. It's part of you. It's part of your existence. And the reason why it wants to keep you in fear and negativity is because that's how it has control over you. And like I said, but this isn't another entity. It is yourself, built with your beliefs, interacting in harmony and transmuting is the mission of life. So when we were born, when consciousness decided to take form, okay, it moved from singularity to duality, okay? So consciousness is just one, okay? You don't have a different consciousness than I do. We all have the same consciousness. This is the law of oneness, okay? What differentiates us is our duality. So when we moved from that consciousness into this body started to form duality and it started to form identity, and that's through our ego. And as our ego identifies with a lot of things, it has beliefs, it has stories, whatever it may be, and it carries these things, these beliefs, these stories, throughout life. Our mission of life is to integrate that in harmony, okay? So it's not to push it away, it's not to like get rid of it, it's to integrate it. And when I talk about integrating it in harmony and transmuting it, that means that you have to go into the depths of your shadows. You have to learn what's in the shadows. You have to bring it up, right? You have to bring that energy up and then transmute it with higher vibrational frequencies to be in harmony within yourself. Okay. And that, I mean, that's deep in itself. I probably will do another video if you're interested on how to transmute, how to like bring it into harmony. But that is our mission of life. Like, our mission of life is to be in harmony, is to be in balance. Everything within this world, within this universe that was created, is in harmony. And when it isn't in harmony, things start to happen to create it to come back into harmony and into balance. Okay. The next point I have here, this was a very big one. Career, family, relationships are all an illusion, but holding love for it all and not forgetting your worth is the lesson. Okay. So the lesson of life, along with integrating and bringing everything into harmony, is to also understand that all of the external things that are in our life, it's not that they're not important because they're an illusion. It's that your love in your heart has to be so pure to hold those things into your life so that you understand who you are. Okay? Those relationships are not defining you, but you are defining you. And that is the lesson of life, to understand that your definition of who you are, your worth, comes from the purification of your heart. And then clarity in space. My job is to be so this was specifically for me. My job is to be a mother, and everything else will fall into place. And so for me, very specifically, it says my ego, I'm sharing it. My ego wants an identity, but my soul already knows the truth. I am consciousness. I do not need a title or a thing to do. I can make shift into anything. Okay. So throughout life, because of the duality that we're in, we continuously feel this lack, or this sense of like, I'm not good enough, or the sense of like, I need to do something else, right? Like, we're so stuck with our identity of who we are that if those things aren't working out for us, we start to feel like, what am I doing? And the clarity that I had was, but I am not those things. I am not those identities. I'm actually just consciousness. And consciousness can shift into anything at any point in time. And so the fact that I, specifically me, have moved from one identity to another identity through my career, through my life, is normal. It's a very normal thing. It's not something that I should be ashamed of, but something that I should be proud of. The next point here, allowing my ego to rest, detaching, pausing, creating space. Once again, I am here to do something big that comes from my ego, and my consciousness says, I am here to be consciousness and ground into faith. So very two different things. And then I have a journal prompt, and you can use this. But for me, it was, how can I be the best mother now? So for me, right now, I'm in this chapter of motherhood. My son is a toddler, and so he really needs somebody to be there for him. Especially right now, he's not in school or daycare or anything. He's home for the summer, and my responsibility right now is him first, and then everything else after. And that has been very hard for me, I think, because I'm so used to doing things that pours into who I am, right? Like, whether that be like, writing more and thinking about if I want to create, more, another book or whatever it may be, or pouring out and doing charity work, or whatever it is in terms of coaching and healing and all the things that I do in terms of like the work that I actually do. I'm always like trying to do more of that because that makes me feel fulfilled. And right now, I had the clarity that like that aspect is always going to be there and it'll grow at its own time. But right now, my main and only responsibility is to be here for my son. And so everything else will happen at its own time. And it's about creating that pause and creating that space when I feel like, oh my God, what is happening? And my emotions are really, really, really complex and stuff. So that's pretty much it. Let me tell you a little bit about like the the details of the 72-hour fast. So I started the fast actually Friday evening, and I ended the fast Monday evening. So Friday evening, after the last meal I had, after that I didn't eat anything, just had water. Saturday I actually just kept a complete water fast. So I only had water throughout the day, with maybe I had electrolytes once in my water, but mostly it was just plain water. Sunday I started to incorporate a little bit more. So I had herbal tea a few times. I had water with electrolytes. And I just kind of had a lot more liquids that day, just to kind of keep my body going. And then Monday is when I broke my fast, and I broke it with vegetable broth. Actually, I made a vegetable soup with broth and just vegetables and things like that in it, and also Greek yogurt. And that was Monday evening. So that's kind of the transition of it. I did have black coffee on Monday just to give me energy for the day, and then just water with electrolytes and stuff. And I will actually link the electrolytes that I use. I actually have a code for it. And so you can get a discount on those, and I'll actually link that in the show notes as well. They're the best electrolytes that I've had thus far, and I am very, very, very happy with them. So I'll link those. They're from Perfect Aminos. And that's pretty much it. That's kind of the details. How did I kind of go about not being hungry? Maybe it's a question you had. It actually got easier after 36 to 40 hours. Though I was hungry, I just didn't feel like eating. And honestly, now that I'm this is 2 days after I broke the fast, so this is Thursday that I'm recording this video, I actually don't even feel like eating. I just have a very different relationship with food now. I feel like I was in a period before I was fasting of just eating whatever. And kind of because my son is home, I think I might have been also stress eating and just not paying attention to what I'm eating at all. And so I really needed this fast to also detox. And now I have a completely different relationship with food. I don't want to eat food that makes me feel disgusting from inside. So that's anything processed, anything really cooked from outside. I really just want to cook at home and eat whole foods as much as possible. I don't want to drink anything, though I've actually not had alcohol for a really long time. But anything else, sodas, which I don't usually have, but even sparkling water, I had sparkling water yesterday, and I just was kind of I don't know, I don't really want to drink this anymore. Anything sweet, I've really stayed away from. I just don't really care to have anything sweet either. Pretty much I'm listening to my body, and it's really telling me to eat a lot of whole foods, fruits, vegetables, yogurt, Greek yogurt and things like that. I also haven't had meat since then, so I actually only eat fish and chicken. But even that, I haven't had since then, and I don't really feel like eating it. I don't know if I will, maybe a here and there, but I just kind of feel like my body is very particular about what it wants right now, and kind of also staying away from caffeine. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So those are kind of the details. Let me know if you have any questions. Put it in the comment section. And if you do want to do a 72-hour fast, and you are a woman, especially, so I'm 41, so especially if you're in your 40s and you feel like you're going through perimenopause, absolutely take the training from Jules, because he really explains of the things that we should do and shouldn't do. 72 hours is kind of extensive, so I would say if you're start off with 24 hours or 18 hours, and then move yourself up to 48, and then if you want to do 72 hours, you can, but it's not necessary, and I think it's not even advised, especially if you're going through perimenopause. If you're on your cycle, also do not fast. And the other thing that I learned is that because our bodies as women are more cyclical in the sense of we're based off of these phases with our cycles, we need to be aware of what our hormone health is. So I've taken a lot of tests, blood tests, to understand my hormone health. And I would advise that you do that first, because you don't want to be in a situation where you are creating imbalance to your hormones, because that's going to create a whole different issue for you later on, even from a spiritual perspective, right? So from a spiritual perspective for women, our energy starts from our womb space, okay? And our heart. So it's like, these are the two like energy centers, like strong energy centers for women, okay? And really, like, this is why like womb healing and ancient shamanic practices focus really heavily on womb healing for women. It's because the womb carries so much wisdom and intuition and so many things for a woman's body that is different, right? That is different from a man. And so that's kind of where all of our hormones are kind of, things are happening from there, right? And so you want to make sure that you are really, from a spiritual perspective as well, really balancing it all out from within you, right? So it's advised that we don't do a 72-hour fast. I mean, I did it, but I would also say if you want to and it's your first time doing it, you don't feel comfortable, do the 48. And then if you want to do a 72-hour, just introduce things like fruits and like just things like that on the last day, because then at least you are giving your body back the nutrition that it's probably going to ask for to balance the hormones within your body, okay? But it's all in the course. So take the course. I'll link it here in the show notes so that you could sign up for it. And it's like, there's like a PDF that you'll have to refer to all the time. He even gives like foods that you should eat, foods that you shouldn't eat, things that are good, things that aren't bad. And that'll be really, really, really helpful as well. Okay. So I'm going to end it there. But if you have any other questions for me, I'm happy to help you through it. If you have any questions in terms of what are the meditations I did, what are the practices I did to tap into consciousness, to like kind of be in that space, I'm happy to answer that as well and teach you as well. And so put that in the comment section as well, or you can even just reach out to me, DM me on my social media. I'll put the links all in the show notes so that you can get the support that you need, because I do have specific meditations that I did, and I do have specific practices to take you on the journey of tapping into that space of being in pure consciousness, more so than in your body, okay, safely. I'll leave it there. I love you all so much. Peace, love, and light. Namaste. Talk to you soon.